So welcome to Dragon Under the Hood. This webinar is hosted by the Network of Assistive Technologists on this Friday, the 24th of July, 2020. Please join us as we welcome the Dragon team from Nuance. And today we're going to learn how all learners can use Dragon to greatly improve their educational experiences and user satisfaction while they expedite email, reporting, documentation, and more. We'll see how Dragon can be used by all users, including students and or staff who have motor skill challenges and require medical accommodations and other supports. We'll see the latest and greatest version of Dragon, Dragon version 15, and hear how administration has been enhanced with the Nuance User Management Center to include user profile backup, restore, roaming profiles, reporting, and analytics. So through a live interactive demonstration, we'll take a look under the hood and we'll see Dragon in action, including some lesser known features such as step-by-step commands, advanced scripting, even some tips and tricks for improving the Dragon experience, such as auto text and auto text with variables, voice commands, how to identify available commands and options, and some stuff about custom vocabularies and more. So we hope you've brought your questions and suggestions, because I'm told with no uncertain fact that the Dragon team wants to hear from you. They want to hear your questions, be able to help you understand Dragon as a product, and they want to hear your suggestions for improvement. So joining us today from Nuance is Jamie Klein, Bill Geyer, Tom Vane, and Eric Ganazzo. So I won't delay us anymore with any introductions and accolades. I'll allow the team to introduce themselves. And with that said, I'll now hand the presentation over to Jamie, Bill, Tom, and Eric as they start their screen sharing and begin today's presentation.
Thanks, Doug. Really appreciate the intro. That was great. And note, I appreciate you guys inviting us into your meeting. Excuse me, into your meeting today. Thank you so much for that. As Doug mentioned, this is a live interactive session. It's an educational, informative session. It's an open discussion and an introduction to Dragon. So we want you to bring your questions. We don't want you to hold them until the end. We do want this to be interactive. And as Doug said, it's an informative session, and we're going to really show how all learners and educators can achieve academic success with Dragon. We're going to do some, like the session is billed, Dragon Under the Hood. We're going to actually dive in and take you through a live session. We're going to do some dictations today. We're going to show you Dragon in Microsoft Word and email and a couple of other applications so that you can see it in action. Like we said, if you have questions regarding functionality, regarding fit, regarding licensing, please don't hold those till the end. We want to make sure that we address your questions. Are there any thoughts or questions before we dive into it, as you guys thought or saw the meeting when you registered? What are some of the things that you were hoping to see today? Is there anything in particular before we dive in?
If anybody does want to take a quick moment, unmute their microphone and ask live, or by all means put the question or the comments for Jamie into the chat there. And I do see somebody's already asking about Dragon returning to the Mac environment. And yeah, that seems to be the big one so far.
Dragon working in the Mac world. That's a great question, and we appreciate that. At the moment, we don't have support for the Macintosh, as you're probably aware. We did, and we have discontinued that support for that platform. In regards to the future, and if we are going to be introducing support for the Mac again, I am not sure. Being in sales, they don't really tell me what's on the roadmap, because I will speak to it and I'll set bad expectations. I hope that makes sense. Tom or Eric, I don't know if you can speak to the vision of that, but as far as I know, and that is a great question, as far as I know, Mac support is not on the roadmap in the near future.
Hey, this is Bill. Tom, the question on Mac, what about that dual boot, Macs that can boot in a Windows OS, right? Can you speak to that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, as you guys already know, Dragon's going to be supported on Windows. There's no current plans to make it work on Mac OS X right now. That could always change in the future, but you could always install, Boot Camp and boot into Windows in those type of environments. As long as it's installed on Windows and you can get the audio there, you should be able to use Dragon in that environment.
Okay, that's great. So lots of comments about that Mac environment. I'm sure you're going to cover this in your presentation, gentlemen. But Jillian is asking for some information about the educational licensing models. In other words, multi-seat users. We've got a person looking for some information on the French version and speech recognition for individuals with various degrees of, and I'm going to mess this up, dysarthria, and whether that's something that Nuance is looking into. And then dual boot, there's a comment here from Neil about it not being a good solution for regular users, so maybe we can talk a little further about that as we go along. And Lyle's asking, able to also highlight some features and functions and compare and contrast them with other free voice recognition tools, such as Google Voice, Microsoft Dictate, Apple Speech, etc. So I think that's a pretty good start to get us off and rolling here. Jamie, I know that you wanted to kind of introduce the team and give us a bit of an overview as we dive into some of this.
This is great, and I appreciate the questions, and please keep them coming. Yeah, Doug, you're absolutely correct. I'll just go through the team. I'll introduce myself. I'll let the team introduce themselves very quickly, but I'm Jamie Klein. I'm the account executive, so I'm responsible for the relationship and for working together and addressing your questions. I'm sort of your middleman, your liaison to all things Nuance and Dragon. Your liaison to support, to engineering, as well as to management. My teammate is Bill Geyer. Bill, you want to say hello and introduce yourself?
Hello, this is Bill Geyer, Regional Account Manager, working with Jamie in the Ontario area, and just a number of years of experience in speech and workflow solutions. So Jamie was kind enough to invite me to today's presentation, so hopefully I can add some value. Over to Tom.
Hi, I'm Tom Vane, Sales Engineer with our Dragon Solutions. I've been here for around 10 years now, working on and off with speech recognition among other programs. And you could call me more of the tech guru or tech nerd resident of everything Dragon. So I'll hand things over to Eric.
Thanks, Tom. Hi, everybody. Yeah, my name is Eric Anazzo. I've been at Nuance for 18 years now. So I've been there for a long time. I started using Dragon around version 6, really fell in love with it on version 8 when I dictated my first sentence and there was 0 mistakes. I remember back then we thought that was the biggest, improvement in speech recognition we had ever seen. And I became an avid user and had probably almost every job you can think of at the company and spent my entire corporate career at Scansoft, now Nuance, and working with Dragon. So very happy to have you guys here to learn more about it. It looks like we have some longtime users on the phone as well. So welcome and nice to meet you.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Tom and Bill as well. And just a quick summary. I mean, I've been speaking with Doug for a little while. I saw Ann Newman out there, I believe, as well, with Queens. I've been speaking with Ann as well. And from what we know that, Assistive Technologists, you guys provide the support services, assistance, and make recommendations on solutions to students or faculty and staff, mostly to students, who could leverage from a medical accommodation, who could benefit from certain technology. Dragon is speech-to-text technology, and to address one of the questions that came up a moment ago in regards to some of the licensing options and multi-seat options, we do have a Dragon Professional Individual, which is just a consumer product. It's a retail or single license only. There's no option to maintain or support that license. Dragon Professional Group is more of the university or corporate licensing solution. There's one license key for all the licenses that you have. Additionally, it's part of the open license program. So the more licenses you add, the lower the cost per license is once you cross a certain licensing level or a certain threshold, if you will. We also have academic lab packs, which is a group or a pack of licenses that you can put on shared computers anywhere throughout the campus. They come in packs of 5, in packs of 20, and in packs of 250. And again, those are shared computers. You install Dragon on those computers, and anyone has access to that. So we can certainly dive in and discuss the differences in regards to the licensing options, but we do have several different options too that make the most sense for colleges and universities, being the group license or the academic lab pack. And some of the reasons that we hear, the common reasons that people are interested in speech recognition technology is to do things a lot faster. They want to expedite their reporting, their documentation, their emails, and we can do that, we know, 3 times faster with our voice than if we write or if we type those. They're also looking to enhance their quality of life, if you will, and do that by leveraging the full benefits of their voice. Again, it does improve the user's experience and the user satisfaction. It drives efficiency and productivity, and it is a great technology in times when a student or staff member needs a medical accommodation. Some of the things before we dive into the demonstration, some of the things that I wanted to discuss that I can't really show are our microphone or our input sources. We have a couple of different choices for that. The power mic, the USB headset, and the Bluetooth headset. We're going to go through the Nuance Management Center, and then some of the advanced features we can discuss, and then I'm going to hand the ball over to Tom, and he's going to dive into a live tour and overview, if you will, a live demonstration. This is the power mic. This is what we're going to be dictating with today. It's ideal for Dragon dictation workstations. It's an ergonomic USB microphone. It has full functioning PC mouse pad capabilities with the mouse buttons, and it's great for dictating. It really allows you to dictate on the fly and have to avoid from switching back from the microphone to the keyboard to the mouse pad. Just makes things much easier. The USB headset is a plug and play, and the whole beauty of Dragon is that it is a bring your own device or plug and place from a headset perspective. Dragon will recognize any input source that your computer recognizes. We would strongly recommend using one of these microphones and not the microphone that's resident on your computer. That microphone is omnidirectional, so it would pick up every noise that Dragon comes across, and it would really interfere with the performance and cause some frustration. So any microphone is, as long as it's not the onboard microphone, and Bill and Tom can speak to the quality of that in a little bit more detail in a moment. And then the third choice of headset is a Bluetooth headset. All 3 of these work, and again, like I said, Dragon is plug and play, so any input source that your computer recognizes as a microphone, Dragon can most likely work with as well. The Nuance Management Center is our central portal or administrative console, if you will. This is one of the newer features and functions that we've introduced in Dragon 15. It is for central administration and user and license management. This is where you not only manage your licenses and vocabularies and auto texts, and you have the ability to share those from one user to the other, so new users can leverage what's already been created. They don't have to recreate the wheel. But it's also where you back up and restore your user profiles. And it's also where you manage your licenses. So you would have the ability to revoke or harvest licenses and then redeploy those to a new user should a student leave campus or leave school and a new student comes on board. You don't want to let that license walk. You want to actually have the ability to harvest that license and reuse it or redeploy that to somebody else. And you would do that through the management center. And I just saw a question come in. I just want to take a quick second. Why would my school benefit from? We will definitely get into addressing that question in regards to why you would benefit from leveraging Dragon as opposed to one of the free speech to text technologies. Dragon is very robust, purpose-built speech to text. Some of the differentiators are the accuracy that you'll find. Additionally, the vocabulary center and the ability to train Dragon and have Dragon learn and improve performance over time. Dragon is speaker dependent, so it will, like I just mentioned, it will learn and it will train itself as the user gets trained to use Dragon, and the performance will improve over time. Additionally, Dragon has some features and functions that those other technologies don't have, the abilities to create custom vocabularies, auto texts and commands. Tom, do you want to speak a little bit to Dragon compared to some of the other free technologies, the Apple Dictate, the Windows?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you'll see in the presentation during the actual demonstration portion of things, really how it shines and how it differs. But just a couple points I'd like to make about, just that consumer grade speech recognition that you get from Siri, Alexa, from Google Voice, from all those other types of solutions. Typically, not in all cases, but typically they're speaker independent, meaning it doesn't learn the person's voice, at least not as quickly as Dragon does. There's really no way to teach it as far as you can Dragon, and you'll actually see a lot of the customizations when we get into the command side, the control side of Dragon, being able to use your voice to do all these different actions. That's where our other differentiator is. And a lot of consumer grade speech rec also has a 30-second cap, or you can only dictate for 30 seconds and it cuts the microphone. So you have to turn it back on again, keep dictating. We specialize in long form dictation. There's no limit to how long you can speak. Dragon doesn't cut off the microphone for you. Thanks, Jamie.
You're welcome. Did that answer the question?
Hey, Jamie, this is Bill. I also threw a couple of bullet points, if you will, into the chat, so folks can have that as a takeaway.
Cool. Thank you. Do you want to speak to it or elaborate?
I think Tom kind of hit most of them, but for example, it is speaker dependent, so it learns your voice, of course. You can add custom words and phrases, so words it doesn't already have. You can add particularly proper nouns. You can do auto text, which are blocks of text triggered with a short voice trigger. Time-saving macros, which may be very important depending on how enabled a student is with their hands. So you can actually get to a level of command and control of the PC using voice, not just putting words on the screen. I mean, Dragon is a very mature product, version 15.5 at this point. So yes, there are no-cost options available with various operating systems, but it's truly application agnostic. If you can put your cursor in a field and type some text with the keyboard, you may use Dragon. I can't speak to all the other, they may only work within the ecosystem that you are living in. So those are a couple of bullet points, and I thought I'd just put them in writing there.
Great points. I appreciate that. Thank you. And like as Bill said, we have users that don't have the ability to use their hands and use Dragon to control their full computer. I'm not sure if those other solutions have the capabilities to do that. And we look forward to actually diving in and showing you. And without further ado, I will stop my sharing and we'll dive into the demo. Just as a reminder, we're going to focus on narrative and long form dictation. We're going to focus on custom vocabularies and the ability to add words and phrases, some auto texts and commands and navigation. And like we said, we'll show Dragon in Word and in email and whatever else Tom has up his sleeve for you.
Thanks, Jamie.
I don't know if somebody answered the French question, but yes, we do have a French language. This is Bill Geyer. We do have a French language pack. Please contact us. So if you're in the Quebec area or so you require French, give us a shout. I can't say speak French, so I won't even try.
Merci.
Beaucoup.
Yeah.
One of the challenges, this is Maris, is that French version that I've seen, all the instructions are in French, even though it does French and English. In other words, I was trying to help somebody who wanted the French version, And I had to ask them, what are the instructions on the screen saying? Like, is there a
That's
version
kinda,
that has an English instruction set as well as the French to set
Right.
up the French version? Because the French did French and English, which was perfect for the same cost. Thank you.
Yeah, the what's going to happen is whatever profile you load as far as the language. So if I load it in French, the UI in Dragon's going to present itself in French. There's not going to be that hybrid where I have French language loaded and then the UI will still be loaded in English that I know of. I can do a little further research on that and get back to you if it's different. But from what I know, from my experience with it, it's always been, it presents itself in the language or the profile you'll be dictating in. So great. I just started sharing out my screen. Jamie, are you seeing that come through?
Yes, I can see you, Tom.
Perfect. Thank you. So today, I'll be largely working within Office applications. Dragon itself was what we call application agnostic. In most applications, we're going to be able to work within. You point, you click, you speak. I'm going to show a lot of the features that Jamie talked about throughout the demonstration, and a large portion of this will be dictation. But through the dictation, I will be explaining those features of Dragon. Obviously, if you guys have any questions, chime in. Feel free to interrupt me or just post them into the chat. So we'll get started. So actually, as Jamie mentioned, today in our demonstration, we'll be using a power mic, a handheld microphone. Dragon is very much BYOD. Bring your own device. You can use one of ours, you can purchase one of ours, but it's not required. We'd like you to, but it's not required. We're just piggybacking off of Windows sound. So if Windows can hear it, Dragon can hear it as well. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to Dragon ! Today we are going to look at the features and functions of Dragon, new paragraph. Dragon is different than your typical open quote consumer grade close quote speech recognition in that it is speaker dependent and learns your voice and writing style to better predict the words that you're going to use for higher accuracy, period. Not only does Dragon learn your voice, you can teach it new words and phrases and how you say them, new paragraph. So for example, there, I know I didn't get very far in the demonstration here, but I wanted to show you, you can teach Dragon, you can make corrections, and I'll show you some of the commands a little bit later here, but I can easily tell Dragon that, I need to use a new word, whether that's a name, an acronym, or just an industry-specific term that we don't have as part of our 300,000 word vocabulary. So like, for example, here, I know somebody named Stephen Hercash, and Stephen Hercash, let's see what happens when I dictate it with Dragon. Stephen Hercash, right? Stephen Hercan, right? That's not what I'm looking for. I'll show you the spelling in just a second here, but I can easily go into Dragon's menus, whether I want to say show Dragon bar or switch to Dragon bar and browse there by my voice, or I can pick up the mouse and tell it I want to add a new word. I can even tell Dragon, add word. I don't have to go through the menus. I can quickly tell Dragon I need to add something so that I can continue dictating with it. So in this case, I'll write out Stephen Hercash, BCH, and then I can simply tell Dragon how it should be spoken if it's different or if I think it needs help. We have an excellent pronunciation guesser, so spoken form isn't always required. But if you look at a word and it's not something that somebody at a 5th grade reading level could figure out, you may want to give Dragon a spoken form, such as Stephen Hercash. I can even tell Dragon specifically how I pronounce it. So when I add the word, I can say it out loud, Stephen Hercash, and save it. So now Stephen Hercash works. The first thing that you'll notice when you open Dragon is the Dragon bar, conveniently located at the top of the screen, period. This will act as your user interface or heads-up display for Dragon, period. It's what you see when Dragon's open and running, period. The Dragon bar is also where you access Dragon's different menus and features, and most importantly, how you can tell it if it's listening to you or not, new paragraph. Dragon is used by many, at home or at the office, for both accessibility and productivity needs, period. Dragon can also be found being used by many industries, and has different editions available to fit the needs of certain industries, period. Dragon Legal was designed with legal professionals in mind, including an extra 30,000 words of legal vocabulary, as well as the ability to format legal citations and references, period. Dragon Law Enforcement was designed for those to protect and serve, comma, to spend less time to create more detailed reports, comma, and more time in the community, period. Dragon is also widely used by healthcare professionals to help spend more time treating patients and less time on documentation, period. And Dragon Professional for anyone else that has notes to take, comma, calls to document, comma, emails to write, comma, case notes to take, comma, child visits to report on, comma, students to grade, or papers to write, period. No matter the use case, comma, Dragon users have a story to tell, comma, and they tell their story, open paren, no matter how long, close paren, with Dragon, period, new paragraph. Think of Dragon as another keyboard you use with your voice instead of your fingertips, period. Simply point, comma, click, comma, and speak, period. Put your cursor where you want the text to go in the desired application, comma, and start dictating, period. Not only does Dragon have the ability to write down what you say, comma, but you can also command it to perform small tasks with the many built-in commands that are included, period. Bold Dragon. Choose one. Correct exclamation point. Exclamation point. Go back. Select many. Choose three. Hundreds of. Scratch that. Thousands of. Go to end. Send email to Eric Anazo. Hello, comma, new paragraph. Scratch that. Today's demonstration. Tab. Hello, comma, new paragraph. I hope you think my demonstration is going well today, exclamation point. Send message. As you can see, Dragon works flawlessly throughout any application that I throw at it so far, even working in and out of email, and I can even call upon an email by voice and who I want to send it to. New paragraph. If you're not sure of the commands that are available, comma, you can ask for suggestions from Dragon, period, new paragraph. What can I say? Show navigation commands. Show correction commands. Show formatting commands. And you can even search Dragon's help through voice. Search Dragon help for Microsoft Word. You can even create your own commands, comma, called open quote auto text, close quote, comma, to insert standard or boilerplate text, period, new paragraph. Insert tip line, new paragraph. Insert page break. Insert prospect notes. So I gave you kind of two examples here. The first one was just a plain old, I say this and Dragon types this. And these are very easy to create in Dragon. I can either tell Dragon add command, or I can browse through its menus to add a new auto text. And simply you tell it what you want to say. In this case, I said insert tip line. And then what Dragon will enter. This is where I just copied and pasted the text, or you can write it out or dictate it out, however you want this to work. And then just save it. And whenever I say insert tip line from now on, wherever my cursor is, Dragon's going to paste that text. The second example here, we've done something a little bit different in that I've put in brackets within my auto text. Now this is a template. This could be done with even autocomplete text that you might want to fill in the blank with. If it's something to where a sentence might stay the same for the most part, but elements within it would change, you'd have variable fields. So for example, if this tip line would change, or if the name of the tip line would change, I could put in brackets in there instead, so on and so forth. But whenever Dragon sees brackets, if I say next field, Dragon's going to highlight the next set of brackets. Next field, previous field. Or if I'm using the power mic, I can use the arrow keys in the power mic to browse through here and just fill out my template or form as I need to. XYZ company, Eric Anazo, comma, Jamie Klein, comma, et cetera, et cetera. Right? I won't bore you through filling out all of this form, but you can see that I can easily insert text and then have Dragon edit that text afterwards. Set font 18 points. There we go. I didn't want to send a tiny text to you from here. So let's see. You can even build step-by-step commands to have Dragon follow through steps such as sending keystrokes, comma, opening applications, comma, waiting, comma, and typing text, period. Here's one that I created to open my training presentation, period, new paragraph. Open my training presentation. And you'll see it even started it for me. So I can tell Dragon which document, website to go to, application to open, how long to wait for that to open, following keystrokes like Alt S and B. If you want to use keyboard strokes or some accessibility options within these applications to link to. We also have advanced scripting commands as well. So I'll show you the kind of differences between these. Again, you design a short phrase that you say, and then Dragon's going to implement the command type below. Auto text is going to type text. Step by step is going to send a series of steps that you design, whether that's keystrokes, opening applications, waiting, typing text, sending keys, or even controlling the microphone. And then lastly, we have advanced scripting that uses WinWrap Basic for COM, which is basically just a kind of visual basic for application style scripting. So if you can script it, Dragon, you can create any kind of command in Dragon. Lastly, comma, if you aren't in front of your computer to talk to Dragon directly, comma, you can capture a recording of your dictation and have Dragon listen to and transcribe the audio from resume with audio for later. Period, new paragraph. Finish my demo. Undo that. And so I've got many different voice commands, whether I'm telling Dragon to do something, whether I'm having it type something out for me. I'm able to control my computer by voice. I can list applications. I can switch between those applications easily. Click cancel, close window, close window, click don't save. And then last thing I wanted to show you here, I just talked about, we can have Dragon listen to an audio file. Might not be the specific fit for your use case, but I just wanted to make you aware of all of Dragon's features here. I can tell Dragon to transcribe from a recording, have it listen back to a WAV, MP3, WMA, DSS, DS2, or M4A audio file. So as a user, all I have to do is select what I want Dragon to listen to. It'll automatically design an output text file for me, in rich text format. I can always change the name and location of that. And click on transcribe. Dragon will, and I know this is an oxymoron, it will silently listen back to the audio, meaning the user wouldn't hear anything while this was happening, but it's going to start listening to the audio. In the meantime, I can go off and work on other things. I won't be able to dictate at that time because Dragon is occupied listening to my voice to the recording at this moment. And this typically runs at a 1-to-1 ratio, meaning every minute of audio takes around a minute of time to transcribe. That means, for example, here, if you had a 10-minute long audio file, but you were only speaking for 5 of it, it's only going to take about 5 minutes to transcribe, typically even faster. Once it's done, Dragon will let me know the transcription is complete, ask me what I want to do with the output now. I can either open it in DragonPad, which is our own little built-in word editor, Microsoft Word, which most people are comfortable with. And these two top options have a very, very similar feature here. That I wouldn't get out of the bottom two, but I can copy to the clipboard, paste it somewhere else, or say I don't have time for this now, I'll return to it later. If I do open it in Word, I do have the option, and I'm probably not set up to where you're going to hear this. Let's see if I can turn my volume up.
That is the tiniest Word document I've ever seen, Tom.
Yeah, let me go ahead and zoom in for that for you guys. But you can't read that, Bill? Come on.
No.
How's that? So I can select the text afterwards, which I think is important. If you're going to correct something that was transcribed from an audio file, you want to be able to listen to it. I don't want to have to open it up in another application, play it, pause it, go back here, see if there's a mistake. If there is, correct it, and then have to go back to my document, play it, pause it. I don't want to have this back and forth. So instead, I can just select the text and tell Dragon to play that back, which I just want to make sure that my volume is turned up enough that you'll be able to hear me. Play that back. And just so you know, it's not smoke and mirrors and me just talking again. Once I click it, the audio stops, and then I can make my corrections. Delete Archer. Undo that. Delete Archer. Close window. click Don't Save.
Hey, Tom, pause for a moment. This is Bill. We got a couple of questions popped up in the window there. And I want to make sure we leave some time to cover some of the, if you will, word processing functions, because I understand some of those functions are available, kind of natively to MS Word and Google and Apple. But kind of the value add of Dragon, certainly the transcription function that you just showed. And there was a question here. Certainly there was about a multi-speaker, and the answer is it is designed to be a single speaker application. So if you put audio through Dragon, you're going to get some results, but if it's multi-speaker, we can't guarantee what'll come out. And then somebody asked about punctuation. So just to stay on the
It's about transcription, I think, Bill.
word processing and transcription. Yeah, speak to that, and then maybe jump into some of the more of assistive features of Dragon as well, beyond word processing, if you will. But can you speak to the punctuation? The question was, a lot of faculty who want to try this but are discouraged by needing to speak the punctuation. I guess they're not used to period, paragraph, that kind of thing. So
Yep.
What can we offer there?
Exactly. So that's a very good question. We get that a lot, and dictation almost does sound like another language. I definitely get that. Training is a large part of using Dragon, just like anybody that was learning how to use a keyboard. You had to be taught how to use it.
What's the home row, right?
What is a home row? But once the training, once you adapt to how to use the technology, surprisingly, comma dictation with punctuation becomes very easy. Period. I know I introduced the call and said, I've been working with Dragon for 10 years. I can tell you it has not taken me 10 years to learn how to do this. There are some features within Dragon that allow you to automatically add commas and periods, but it's important to understand how this feature works before you try it. It uses the natural pauses in a speaker's dictation or voice to guess at putting a comma or a period. It won't do anything about new paragraph. You can press the Enter key, or you can use Dragon in conjunction with mouse and keyboard to do that for you if you wanted to. And you can always go back and add if need be. But I'd always say learn how to dictate first. Teach yourself to say comma and period.
Tom, just a little side note. I'm been doing this a little while. I'm actually guilty of dictating a voicemail message. I've actually put period. I'm like, and call me back, period. I'm like, oh my God, I just did that.
Yeah,
so
it becomes scary.
Yeah. Did you just dictate a voicemail? Yes, I did. So I'll let you continue. But to the question, I think it was Jillian asked, the punctuation, you can learn to say it. There's a couple of frequent commands, or you can try this automatically add punctuation feature in the setup. So it is a settable feature for students and faculty alike.
Yep, perfect. Thanks, Bill. So as I mentioned, Dragon's going to work within pretty much any application. So, I showed you Word today, right? Word and Outlook, right? You guys probably already know it's going to work there. Why wouldn't we? If we didn't, we'd have much bigger problems. We wouldn't be where we are today. But really, as I mentioned in my demonstration, it's point, click, and speak. Open in the application that you want. So even, when we're presenting this to police officers, right? They use different things like RMS or records management systems. Our tech support team uses Dragon to create their case notes of an application called Right Now. Right, those are third-party apps that just get your cursor there, and as long, you can get your cursor there. By the way, I know you're seeing that I'm clicking different areas, but as long as the application you're using follows what we call Microsoft Accessibility Programming Guidelines. I know it's a mouthful to say, but those accessibility programming guidelines basically say that my application is going to work with other accessibility tools. For example, if you had a screen reader like JAWS, can JAWS identify those elements so it can drag you? You can click on those on the web page, click on those items in an application, in your different menus. So you have all those, and even if you didn't have that capability, we do have another layer for our microphone that I can tell Dragon to open up mouse grid or mouse grid. 1, 1, 8. Right, so I'm just going to shut off my microphone. It takes that off for me, but it allows me to control my mouse position on my screen by kind of segmenting out the screen. Once I tell it what number to focus in on, it's going to create a separate grid within that, and you can kind of drill down to where you need your mouse to go. Click and drag, so on and so forth. So you still have that complete mouse control. I can even tell Dragon, move mouse lower right, faster. And as soon as I turn off my microphone, it stops. Bill, was there anything else that I missed during that?
No, I mean, certainly if somebody needs to control their computer by voice, the mouse grid coordinates. What about like macro recorders and step-by-step commands that could kind of speed up repetitive tasks?
Yeah. So as I mentioned during my demonstration previously, you can create step-by-step commands. You can use macro recorder. One thing about this though, if you're trying to share commands between users, the macro recorder isn't always ideal because it's literally going to take coordinates, XY coordinates of your mouse, and those different buttons, button clicks, whether it's left click, right click, double click, et cetera, et cetera. But it's just basically going to be going to record your actions that you're taking to repeat those same actions every time you say the command. When trying to share this with other people to use, my screen positions and my layout may be a little bit different than yours, so my macro recorder may not work on your computer. But for that, a more consistent way is a step-by-step command, especially if, again, they created their application using those accessibility guidelines. They should have different alt codes, like Alt F to get to the file menu, Alt S or Control S to save automatically. If you know the keystrokes, you can map out those keystrokes for Dragon to take. And that's just to kind of show you how I created that Open My Training presentation command. All I'm doing is browsing to either the application. I could put in a website there too, a URL. However I want that to work. But I would just browse to what document that I want Dragon to open, and then tell it that I should open that application. Now I can change this from application to all files instead, so I don't have to point a specific application or shortcut to Dragon to use. I just browse to whatever document or essentially whatever file I want Dragon to try and open. And it's going to act like I'm just double clicking on it, but I won't see it browse to it and open it. It'll just start opening on my screen. When I go to my training documents here, I can find my training document, tell it to open, and I can even give it different arguments. And then the next step could be, I need you to wait a certain amount of times for the application to actually open. And the last steps could be something as easy as, I know that Alt S will get me to my slideshow menu from wherever I am. So I could just tell it I want to insert this step, press Alt S, and then the last step would be B for begin. So that's how I created that command to actually open my training presentation.
Hey, I don't know if I'm on. Tom, do you hear me? Oh, I am on.
Hear you.
Okay, looking for my mute button. I just wanted to interject. We have a question here which jumped out at me as very interesting. And I'll say thank you so much for the questions. They're coming in fast and furious, so we may not be able to get to every one of them live during these next 12 minutes, but we will take the copy of this chat and reply back to the group. So the question was, can you create an option for a user to repeat the training? Tom, if you look at the question from, I think it was WorkCell, option for a user to repeat the training text using audio. I have clients with dyslexia, visual impairments that have a hard time reading the training text, creates barrier to access. Dragon able to dictate math equations. Okay, different question there. Playback, I suppose, right? Speech to text to speech, sounds like a question there. And then math equations for engineering students. So
yeah. So yes, you can tell Dragon to read text back to you. Now we do have two different voices. We have British English Serena, and we have American English Samantha. So we definitely have different playback options here. I can select text, whether it's my own voice, if it's something that I've dictated, I want to review what I said versus what was typed, or vice versa. I can see what's typed versus what was said. Or even if it was something I didn't dictate, I can still select that text and tell Dragon to read that, and it'll read in a similar voice.
Press the read text button to hear the text-to-speech engine read the text in this box.
I prefer British English Serena. I just like how fancy she sounds. But
so I think the follow-up question, sorry, I mean playback during the voice training during setup.
Yep. So actually like doing the check microphone here, the playback here to actually see what Dragon heard. I know that was something that we used to have in the product. It's something that was taken out. I don't know the specific decision for that, but typically Dragon won't proceed unless it does hear audio. If it runs into an issue, it should prompt you that, hey, Dragon's having problems hearing you. And again, we're just piggybacking off of Windows Sound. If there's a concern that you're not able to hear, that you're not sure Dragon's hearing you correctly or don't know how you sound the Dragon, You could use something as simple as Windows Sound Recorder to capture that as well and play it back through Sound Recorder, because we're quite literally just piggybacking off of that Windows sound.
And does it have to be the exact words there, Tom, or pretty close?
It does not. It does not. So during this stage, and that's actually a really good point. So in previous editions of Dragon, you used to have to kind of read it verbatim. You had to read the text, and if you strayed from it, it wouldn't allow you to proceed. It was actually kind of still doing that initial somewhat recognition. You'd first have to level out the microphone, and then you'd have to kind of read this long training paragraph. This is now the training. And the training really isn't training to your voice during this stage. It's just leveling out how
It's a
loud
sound
the
check.
software speaks. It's a sound check. It's just microphone.
Yeah, hey Tom, if I could jump in, this is Eric. The one of the features that honestly I was personally not even happy that they took it out. It was something I fought for, was the ability to read the training, and then there was an option to not have to follow the bouncing ball, but do it kind of like when we were setting up a digital recorder where you could read the training, because a lot of folks with difficulty speaking or difficulty with reading, you could print out in Braille or read it back to someone. So what I recommend for those users, anybody can get through this step. So you can do this step even if you wanted to for your user to get past this, or just have them say anything. And then if you have a pre-written story that they can read through Braille or through read it out to them and they repeat, have them just do a lot of dictation into Word. And then once you've done a lot of dictation, you'll build up enough data, and then you'll be able to run what we call the acoustic optimizer, which is a tool within Dragon. And once you run that, it'll be just as though you did the training story like you did in the old days. It's just a workaround to get it done. So dictate a bunch into Dragon, give them something to read. Once you have, I think it's about 4 minutes of audio built up, might be a little bit more. You can go, Tom, if you want to just show them where that feature is, you can go run this tool, and then that'll be the same as doing that initial training. Really only beneficial for someone who has a really hard time talking or isn't as clear and as articulate as we are, because Dragon really does adapt. The way it works now is within the first 30 seconds of dictation, we adapt to your voice really fast. And we're able to do that because we used to do all these high-end processes in our servers. We used to have these high-powered GPUs from NVIDIA running on servers to optimize speech engines every time we would come out a new version using neural networks and deep learning. That technology is in the software now and happening while you use it. So usually within the first 30 seconds of using it, your accuracy will be really high, unless you might have a bit of a challenge like we talked about, and then that's kind of the workaround for it.
And I think, Jamie, correct me, I think we're good till the 2:30 time Eastern, right? About 7 more minutes, is that right?
That's what we have scheduled, yep.
Okay. So, I mean, so this has been fast and furious, Tom, and I would just say to everyone, get in touch with us if you have specific questions. We can go through it, kind of digest the question and see if we can get it answered. I know we're clicking around quick and we're doing a lot of things. Many times the answer is there. We just need to think on it a moment or check it out. But definitely we're gonna look to get a copy of this chat log and get some follow-up done to answer these questions in a little more specificity. But Tom, this is, I think, if we look at the features from basic word processing, I guess we would agree that, Dragon, as well as we would argue that we do it better just on a basic word processing level, but then you add in what's called auto text, where you can put in blocks of text. And this could be maybe not for a student, but a faculty member or somebody in a research capacity that has, you're just trying to facilitate more efficiency for that person. Maybe they have a temporary ability, they carpal tunnel or a broken arm, they just need some accommodation. So, very strong word processing, very accurate, auto text with variables. Then we move into the assist, the truly assist, the step-by-step to automate computer tasks, the mouse grid coordinates, the step-by-step. And we haven't even gotten into and won't today, but, there are advanced scripting for truly more difficult cases that we would need to sit with each user and spec that out. But the tool is beyond word processing. It's kind of like under the hood or past word processing, and it is quite accurate, and I think solves many use cases within the assistive world, we believe, but certainly It's not what we believe, it's what you believe. And we'd like to get your questions answered. So I think we have about 5 minutes remaining. Tom, Jamie, I'll let you kind of sort out how we wrap up, but this has been awesome.
Thanks.
It's
Hey,
Doug
Doug.
speaking here. I just want to, as we do wrap up, it's fine to go over a little bit, although we do respect the people's time that have committed the hour for us. The one thing I think that was a question that hasn't been answered yet, and definitely it would be beneficial for the audience, is to do a quick summary of the different license versions and why those versions would be preferable for the university, well, for the institutions, over the individual box methods, both from a cost and a compliance perspective.
Sure, sorry about that. Yeah, we certainly we can speak to the license. I don't have. I can pull my. So the licensing options, I think we had touched on them a little while ago in the beginning, but only touched on them briefly. Dragon Professional Individual is, I think someone alluded to a question in regards to that. It's just that. It's an individual or retail or box copy only. It's a consumer product. And it's really just for one individual user. The Dragon Professional Group is more for a where you have multiple users, so you can take advantage of one license key, so it makes license management and administration easier. But you can also take advantage of the size of your organization and number of users that you have, where the group license takes scalability and volume into account. So we have the open license program. As you add or grow your user base, you'll move into a new licensing tier. And as you move into the next licensing tier, the cost per license will come down. You also have the ability or the option to maintain those licenses. And by maintain those licenses, put them on a maintenance and support plan, which will give you tier 3 technical support or a help desk to call for break fix issues, if you will. It also entitles you to automatic updates, upgrades, patches, fixes, point releases, and point revisions as we introduce those at various times throughout the year. So it ensures that you're on the most current and latest and greatest version and have the most up-to-date patches in place. Additionally, if there are multiple users, it ensures that your users are on the same standardized version. With the group license, you also have a couple of other benefits and options. One, it's one license key. I think I had mentioned that, so you don't have to juggle individual license keys for each user. Additionally, you can enroll or subscribe to the management center, which allows you central management for your users, the user profiles, as well as your licenses. You can do reporting and analytics in there as well to identify who's using Dragon, how often they're using it also. A third licensing option, Doug, is the academic lab packs. And it really depends on the use case, but the academic lab packs is a pack or a group of licenses that are at a discounted price, I suppose, for education. And again, you get to put those licenses on a set number of computers on campus, in the library or in a testing location, and you'd have the ability to have anybody who wants to take advantage of speech-to-text technology have access to Dragon on those lab or shared computers.
Okay, that's great. I appreciate that. And just to clarify that for those institutions that are still buying the individual boxed copies, if I'm not mistaken, that's the licensing for individual box copies is actually tied to the individual. So effectively, in simple terms, it's one box, one person, one installation, one voice kind of thing. So it would be more cost effective.
Yeah, with individual, I think you can install it on up to two devices, but it is for one user. Where group is for multiple users. And I think there was a question that says, will the group version allow us to grant students to use it off campus or at home? And can we manage those licenses through the management center? Yes, that is exactly what the management center would be used for. And yeah, you'd be able to assign a group license to a student.
Yeah, I have an exact situation like that at my institution. We have an employee who uses it in their office. When we went remote, all we did was download the client file, the Dragon program onto their home laptop. They logged in with their user credentials that had been set up, and their profile was right there. All their custom vocabulary, all of the stuff that they had set up in the Dragon, just as if they were sitting in their office. So it would easily transfer over to students.
Awesome. Awesome. And
So,
Doug, will you be able to share a copy of the group chat so that we can address those questions individually?
absolutely. And I just want to, I know that we are running very short on time here, but those that are still with us, I know a few have had to drop off, but those who are still with us, if there is a question that's kind of burning that you really, really want answered right now versus waiting, and and we've missed it in the chat or it hasn't been covered otherwise, please either unmute your microphone and allow us to quickly answer that, or to pop it into the chat, and we'll go from there just as we wrap up here. So just give it a moment.
While they're either coming off mute or typing their final questions in, was this in line with what you were hoping and expecting we would cover? Was there anything that we didn't touch on that we can cover before we wrap up?
I'm not so certain that there's anything specific to cover today before we wrap up, although I would be more happy putting that question out to the audience and having a follow-up session from your team in the future. Sure. There's an awful lot of stuff that you guys have touched on today, and I know that there's an infinite amount of other material that you haven't touched on based on time and just the overview of this. Even though we were going under the hood, the fact is it's still an overview. So it would be nice if we could have some further dialogue and maybe some additional follow-up sessions over time where we dived in. Where my English is really good on a Friday, where we dive into some more specific areas or even broad topics than just Dragon itself. So I would invite you as you as the Nuance team that we're open to that if you are.
Yeah, like you said, this was an overview under the hood and an overview as well. We did cover a lot, the license options, the different types of speech to text and some of the freewares and how we differentiate there. We went through some dictation, verbatim dictation, the vocabulary center, and some auto texts and emails and advanced scripting and play that back and mouse grid. I mean, it was a lot, and the questions were great. The interaction was awesome. They were coming in fast and furious, and I said up front that we wanted questions to come in, and I really appreciate the interaction. I think it makes for a more meaningful and a better session, and I hope that we met or exceeded your expectations.
I would say you exceeded, and on the note of exceeding, I noticed that Elizabeth had unmuted herself, so I just want to give Elizabeth a chance to voice her question.
Okay, thanks very much. I'll make it really quick, but I was the one who asked about dysarthria, and you pronounced it correctly, and it's the same as speech impediment or unclear speech. And I noticed a few other people asked about it. And so just wondering, not expecting you to be able to answer right now, but a lot of the clients I work with are individuals whose speech has been impaired, but if they could use Dragon and get it to recognize their voice, it would be a dream for them. So just wondering if Nuance is investing in that. I know that there is a project, I think it's by Google, called Euphonia, that is actually collecting dysarthric people's speech in order to allow for these, run-of-the-mill speech command apparatuses that people are using to work for individuals that can't speak clearly. So that's just my question, is Nuance looking into that area?
That's a great question. That is a great question.
Yeah, I do know we have a lot of users, this is Eric, that use the software with this type of issue. Whether or not we have a specifically designed team focused on that type of input, I'm not sure. We'd have to talk to our research and development team, but I do know that that's a very common use case and that people have been successful and that it just takes a little bit more work, especially up front to get there. But we definitely have users that use it in that type of situation.
Okay, that's
This
great.
This is
Sorry,
Tom.
go
I
ahead.
just wanted to add to that real quick. So prior to my current role, I used to work in technical support, and one specific instance that I don't know if they were matching this specific speech impediment or impairment, but they called in and I could not understand the person over the phone. I remoted into their machine. We actually got that far to remote into the machine because he was able to communicate through email, and he started using Dragon to dictate what he was saying to me, and it was perfect. He did mention that it took a little while to train it, but it eventually learned his voice. So somebody, a human, me, I could not understand him, but Dragon could understand him. But either way, Dragon's going to adapt to that speaker's voice. But like Eric said, I don't know if there's anybody specifically looking for that in research and development, but we do learn. Dragon does learn.
Thanks, Doug.
I appreciate the feedback there from both our participants and the Dragon team, because that is a common problem area that we find sometimes insurmountable. Just I think in a lot of the time that we don't have the ability to work in depth with those individuals as much as we'd like to, and I would maybe put it out there for the Dragon team, for your research and development and or your engineers, is that you've got a captive audience through the assistive technology professionals that are here today, and a wider audience that aren't here live, that obviously there's a lot of privacy and things that we might have to get to overcome, but those are the easy stumbling blocks or hurdles to overcome. Is that I'm sure that that we'd be more than willing to work with you guys as a team to be able to help you improve your product with some actual research subjects and things like that. So I put that out there. If we can be of any help to if your R&D department isn't already looking at that, if maybe we can convince them that there's people that would like them to.
Terrific. Thanks, Doug.
Yeah. So any final comments? I don't see anything new in the chat here except a request to share as they're able tips on how to help people with speech difficulties train in Dragon. So that's something that we can look at following up. And yes, the chat will be provided. And I'm hoping that we can get any of the follow-up questions funneled through somehow, so that it's not so that we can all benefit from it, from the responses too. So we'll figure a way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. And however, whatever the easiest way is to communicate the answers to everybody, not just to that specific person, but I think that the whole group could benefit.
Yeah,
certainly.
Great.
Yeah, send these questions over, and we will go through them. We'll get them addressed. I'll ship them back to you, Doug, and let you ferret them out if that's all right. And then you can circle back once you've had feedback, and we just can discuss thoughts and continue to keep the dialogue open.
Perfect. And we will also be sharing the recording of this presentation, as well as the contact information and the slideshow of what obviously minus the live demonstration, but the other slideshow, which I think has your contact information in it. So that'll be there so people can directly connect with you. So
yeah, please don't be bashful. The last thing we want to do is hide. So like we said, we encourage the questions. We wanted this to be interactive, and you guys stepped up to the plate and delivered that. So yeah, please don't be bashful. And I know that you're not.
We're not, and you may be afraid, you may be sorry you asked for that, but I'm glad that you have. So we'll certainly. So all right, so I'm not seeing any other comments other than some thanks and such in the chat box here, and I don't see anyone else with an unmuted microphone. So I think what we'll do is we'll wrap up the session for today here. And I've taken back the screen sharing here. So just want to very much thank Jamie, Bill, Tom, Eric. Thank all of you for sharing with us today, bringing us a glimpse under the hood. I think we were a little overzealous on figuring that we could almost do Dragon justice in an hour, but you guys have
I love the ambition.
Yes. And you've it's I guess we could say to be continued is the easiest way to sum it up, and that's so yeah.
You sure we don't want to keep on continuing now? My daughter turned 15 today and wants me to take her driving for the first time, so
So you sure you don't want us to continue? Is that what your question was?
That's what I'm saying. Can we go
Yes.
longer? I'm teasing.
I hear you. Just, I don't want the one thing in the comments that just came in from Elizabeth to go without mentioning, because it's something you guys can take away and work on in the background, is larger font in the corrections menus, or well, in all of the menus. So I'll leave that one with you to funnel through. But as assistive technology professionals, we're always needing to add to the toolboxes and the options that we have available for those that we support. So everything here today, and as we've I think have agreed, is the to be continued. I think that's for sure that's going to continue to add to our toolboxes. So again, thank each and every one of you, both of our participants and the team from Dragon and from Nuance here. Your support of the assistive tech profession and the network of assistive technologists, it's greatly appreciated. Please, let's keep in touch and keep this this going, and the collaboration. And yeah, so
you got it. Thank you so much for the opportunity and for the invitation and time today, guys. Really appreciate it. Doug, I agree. Let's keep the dialogue open and keep the wheels in motion. I really appreciate it. Have an awesome day and a better weekend.
Perfect, and good luck on the driving lesson, and or not lesson, I guess, the driving experience. And just lastly, for everyone here today, just thank you for joining us. Remember, you can't spell education without AT. And until next time, take care and stay safe.
Thank you, everybody.